How are we?
Pretty good.
Good, mate.
What's happening today?
We've got the GU in here. We're going to run through what we've done to the 12 volt system. Watch out for the hound. Yeah, the advantages of the system we've got, and also probably a little bit of Angus on the disadvantages.
Of the old system.
Of the old system.
There was a few warm beers was one disadvantage it used to often produce.
Background on it, we've installed a full REDARC system from, it used to be a BCDC 1225 AGM battery. I forget what brand it even was. Probably as basic as, not quite as basic as a solenoid.
Yeah, not quite as basic as no charger, but
yeah.
No monitoring or anything like that, just a charger and a battery.
And don't get me wrong, there were some flaws in that system, but that's not because of the products, it was because of the idiot that put it together. Mm-hmm. Now we're running, well, I'm running it's a full Red Vision system with the REDARC 150 amp hour lithium with the REDARC RS3 inverter as well. So they're relatively new to the market in the last 6 to 12 months. And it is also, the Red Vision system is with the Rouge TVMS Rouge.
Yep.
If you're wondering why I'm looking at Angus, because he is more of a tech guru on this. He's a sparky by trade, but thinks he knows stuff about 12 volt too.
Pretty all round.
So yeah, let's have a bit of a look in the car. We'll add quickly in there, Marco, that this is sponsored. We didn't pay a cent for it. We just popped up and asked REDARC for some free gear and they gave it to us. So don't bother putting that in there. It had nothing to do with the fact that we've been doing this for 8 years and we've created a platform where we can offer something to companies. So they often give out free stuff, just got to email them.
Yeah. I also want to offer something back to people who might be looking at buying one, and we can give them a pretty honest review and try it out in the same scenario that they're probably going to.
We've seen a REDARC screen before, a Red Vision screen before. It's basically your monitoring system. Also enables you to Bluetooth connect to your phone.
Yeah.
Which I actually find, this has been in for what, maybe more than 6 months now, and I find myself looking and like being wanky and turning my lights on and off from my camp chair.
One of those guys.
Yeah. Oh, look, boys, I've got 4 days left.
Before you put this in, you were like, I'd never need that.
I know. It is kind of handy. Like the other day up at Bendelby, got in the swag, turn the light off. It is kind of a good function, regardless of the wank, but it does get used. Under here, this is obviously, each setup's different, but like how tight is this? Run us through it, Broad. You're more into the clue of what's going on here.
Manager 30, which is your charger, it can charge from the alternator, solar, or you can plug it straight into 240. Charges at 30 amps directly into your battery here, which is the new battery that REDARC working with Super B with. Pretty flash bit of kit, has got its own built-in shunt if you did want to use it as a standalone system with just a charger. The TVMS Rouge, Total Vehicle Management System Rouge, smaller than the other TVMS that you might have seen before, but yeah, it does the same thing. 10 4 amp outputs or 4 10 amp outputs, can do analog sensors for things like water level and stuff like that. So all electronic resettable fuses and stuff inside, but yeah, pretty tidy little unit that you can, once you've installed it, you just connect up the positive and negative to whatever you want to switch with it, and away you go. Even Nick got it to work.
Just sparks up.
Meanwhile,
sitting up above there.
Pretty flash bit of kit, the new inverter. The good thing about these is, versus other ones, is that if you want to pull up somewhere, probably more for like the caravans and things like that, but still works for this. If you pull up, say at a caravan park or something, and you plug this in to 240 volts, it will sense that and completely switch over, so it's not drawing from your battery or anything anymore. So automatic changeover switch, which is very handy. And then you can run all your stuff directly on 240 without circumnavigating the whole system.
Instead of hooking up a battery charger now, you got a AC input.
This one goes straight into your Manager 30, so when you are sitting here in the shed or something like that, your car's parked up, you can plug this in and it will charge your battery directly, so you don't need another battery charger or anything like that. The other good thing that you get from the Manager 30 is the stuff that's on the screen, so you can see what's going in, what's coming out, how long you've got left. Things like that give you a great indication for how much longer you can get away with free camping for. See your solar input versus what's going out, work out how many more days you got. It's all done for you.
The other day, it was Aussie Day weekend, went across to the beach on York Peninsula in South Australia. We obviously took some lamb, so we thought, why not take the spit, plug the spit in, get that thing spinning. You can see exactly what's happening. They draw nothing, but it's good to know that you're not going to have a rare piece of lamb at the end of the day because you don't have the power to roll it around.
Yeah. Or warm beers the next day.
Yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah, we don't want to go into that.
Undercooked lamb and warm beers. Also, with the TVMS Rogue, and Mark, you're a little bit jealous of this one, but you also have dimmable functions. So,
definitely,
for instance,
it's a big thing.
This input here is that back LED above Angus, so I can hold that down, and that dims right down or to nothing, and that's coming HD back up just by holding the button. So that's all programmable from the REDARC configurator app on your phone.
Yep.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, so that's the setup. In my eyes, there's only real one disadvantage to this setup, and it's probably the cost. I'm not even sure. There'd be a fair few $1,000s worth of gear sitting just here. Is it necessary for a vehicle of this nature to run a few camp lights and fridge and whatever else? Well, it's not necessary, no. But neither is a lot of gear on the market for four-wheel drives. It's whatever makes you feel more comfortable and
makes it easier.
Makes it easier. Why do you have a freestanding awning? Because it's easier. Why don't you just put legs down? Well, because it takes longer.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's convenience and the reason you want to go off-road or you want to go camping is to enjoy your time.
Absolutely.
It's not to start setting up the Taj Mahal of campsites. And this monitoring system's fantastic. It's on your phone. It takes the guesswork out of it, like we were doing with the old setup. And like I said, that wasn't anything to do with the product. That was more so what we had running, or what I had running off of that previous AGM, which we probably touch on a little bit in a bit. But that's the major downside in my eyes to this. It's probably the only downside. Is a cost, initial outlay. You're paying big bucks for a lithium battery regardless on, well, I won't say regardless on the brand, but for a reputable brand, you're paying big dollars for a lithium battery.
But with massive advantage. Though.
Massive advantage.
The weight reduction.
With some light.
Where were we? Batteries?
Batteries. Positives, well, yeah.
But just quickly, before you go on to that, you do need an inverter. Your particular case, you need an inverter.
Correct,
definitely.
Yeah.
And you need to monitor stuff like the water tank, for example. You can monitor that now through.
Yeah, I just need. Oh, there's one over there that I've stolen from Angus because he left it.
I'll put it back in the car.
Oh,
I didn't want you to take it. I knew it to be installed by the next time I came.
That is 100. Yeah, it takes the guesswork out of. Do I need to fill the water tank up in this town?
Yeah.
Yes. No. I've got 80%. That's good enough for the next 2 days. Whatever. So once again, it's for the convenience of life on the road.
The other thing that you are paying for, and it is expensive, but this vehicle here especially goes on a lot of hard tracks. It goes down a lot of corrugated roads, so you're paying for good quality stuff that can handle that. The other thing is that you are paying for is that if there is a problem, REDARC has a very good tech support centre that you can call up, and they're guys who are either auto sparkies or very well versed in the products, and they'll be able to help you on the side of the road. So something like that can be an absolute game changer if you're sitting there not knowing what's going on. So it is expensive, but there's things that come with it.
That's right. Even you go as far as their instruction manuals, they're all diagrams. So it's all pretty.
Yeah. They're designed for you to install it, not necessarily to be an auto sparky to do it. Back
to batteries, lithium. Everyone knows that lithium is king at the moment. Pros, well, it's light. That's a 150 amp hour battery. That is considerably. I did have weights at some point on my previous AGM to this, and this was a fair bit lighter, and it's, as the packet says, 50% more amp hours.
Yeah, usability.
But usability is a lot more than 50%.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a rough guide. The lithium batteries from REDARC are designed to be drawn down to 0, so it's 150 usable amp hours. In a 100 amp hour AGM battery, at best, you probably get maybe 60 out of it before you're going to see voltage dip and therefore lack of performance. Maybe a little bit more, but not reliable performance. So therefore, with the same battery, you've now doubled your capacity and you can take it down to 0, which is huge.
Massive. I've noticed, especially when you got the monitoring too. I mean, there's probably no use monitoring my previous setup because there was barely any volts there.
No need. Gauges always flick to off.
I think we're pretty well on the money there as far as that. I don't know if it's worth touching on just quickly on what the faults I had with how my AGM was set up.
Yeah, I mean the previous setup, not bad, just a few things. Ended up having the amp running off of the second battery instead of the start battery, so that
This is an amp for
the amp
sound system.
the sound system in the car. So something that I think we put the clamp meter on it after we figured it out and just had a bit of a test. But I think at low volume, you know, it was only 3 or 4 amps. But when the volume was up, it was up at sort of 10 to maybe 12 amps. So the problem is that when the fridge is running in the car, the 25 amp charger was putting in 25 amps to the second battery. The fridge was pulling out 5, and then sometimes the amp was pulling out 10. So there's 15 amps gone. You're only putting 10 extra amps in while driving, you know, into that battery.
Yeah.
So it never had a chance to fully recharge. And then you'd get to site, start
Really easy job for you, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it? Every day. Start cracking the beers.
And campsite.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess.
Come on, mate. Yeah, you get to the campsite.
Bloody tradies.
And you start, you know, drinking the cold beers that are in there, and then it's end of the night, you think, right, better launch all the other ones in so they're cold for the next day. You launch warm... Absolutely, very important. You launch all those warm beers in there, that fridge is going to be on most of the night trying to chill them right down. Therefore, the battery you haven't charged during the day because we had pulling it in different directions has now got, you know, 60% to try and get down. So anything like that doesn't need to come off of your auxiliary battery, keep it off.
The reason that I had that on there was so I could have tunes on that camp without having the threat of
flattening the
it's just battery. You know, you want beers and tunes, right?
Yeah. Look, I often enjoy those.
Also, I had and I wish I tested it somehow previous, but like with the clamp meter, my alternator was on the way out. Of recent times, I got a new high output, so that would have potentially been paying some form of
the whole system was getting on a bit. And,
well, I reckon that's pretty well got it licked.
I think so. Good system.
Very happy. Like I've been running it for 6 to 9 months, I reckon. It's just one of the things I literally were thinking about power every trip. It was, as you probably, if you've been watching any of our trip videos, you'd know that there's always something about, it used to be my hubs, then it was my power, all the time, every trip. And for some reason, it was always relied on. Charging camera gear in here, it was always a heavy, it was always the beer fridge in my car. So it was always the relied on vehicle as far as 12 volt power went. And it was just it was never up to scratch. And now those worries, like, they're gone. I'm very, very happy.
Yeah, well, I guess you're the perfect sort of person, obviously not having to pay for it, but get tested out, but speaking to the advantages of it and how it used to feel compared to now. Like, we'd be ripping the inverter out of your car to put in another car so we could charge the camera. We did that at Bendelby.
We did that.
Like, so to have that peace of mind.
Yeah. No, very good. Just, like I said at the start, this is sponsored gear. There's a reason they chose us to sponsor their gear, because we put time and effort into this channel. So we appreciate it if you subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.